how much are you seeing some sort of, I don't know, whales, and how much are you seeing something where it's a realistic pricing action of institutions having fully adopted a crypto asset, even if it does lose favor to some degree?
I think we have one more big leg down in crypto. I think we're going to see some selling off in Bitcoin. I think one of the things that supported it recently are the fact that there are a lot of whales who have an invested interest in keeping it higher. And there's all this talk about Bitcoin maximalists, right? So there is a theory that, okay, FTT, the tokens, that was where a lot of the trouble was. Maybe Bitcoin's the quote-unquote safe part of crypto. I think that narrative is going to get hurt a little bit. And all the stuff that's been going on with the Grayscale Trust, so GBTC, has been feeding into that a little bit. So people, I believe, have been selling that to buy Bitcoin. I think that's going to turn out to be a mistake as well.
Why isn't this a broader market story? How can this be so contained, given that this story really grew up in the era of free money?
So I think earlier this year, it's a great question, but I think earlier this year, they were kind of tied together because you had a lot of people who were invested in crypto. They were invested in disruptive stocks. They all were doing it on margin. So every time one sneezed, it would, drag down everything else. That got shaken out a little bit. So we're better off right now. I think the next leg of this is going to be, wow, what happens to the economy? You start looking at the amount of money that was being spent by even FTX on advertising, crypto as a whole, right? I think this is going to feed into the economy. I think the wealth effect is real, right? This time we've lost $3 trillion down to just under $1 trillion, right? There's been huge wealth effects. I think this is going to bleed into the economy. Generally, that's going to be bad. I think it's going to turn out to be good for energy usage, though.
Peter, thanks so much for coming in. You have an August firm, hugely conservative at Academy Securities, of former admirals and the like as well. They hang on every bit of when Tchir publishes on rates, risk, and Taylor Swift. How'd that sell?
We got to do some clickbait, too, even in our part of the business.
Well, how do you sell Bitcoin to a conservative shop like Academy? These people are going to say it's unregulated, it can't be regulated, it's foreign. How do you sell Bitcoin as a legit thing to a bunch of conservative people at Academy?
So fortunately, I've been fairly negative on it, but I think we're having these conversations. Where do we step in? When does it get interesting for our firm to explore it? And it's really going to come down to regulation. Do the regulators come out and create an environment that you can feel comfortable with, right? And right now, it's just not there. One of my big takeaways has been for the last year to talk something as simple as where is something domiciled and where are
exactly. Okay,
you
were right. You and I are on the same page on this. Alibaba's hanging out at the Cayman Islands, trying to play by a different rule book. I'm going to defend Gary Gensler here right now. What does he regulate? Where's the domicile?
I think that's really the key issue, right? You've got to have some sort of domicile here. And the big question I think a lot of people are talking about, even whether it's these Grayscale trusts, is where is the Bitcoin? So we talk about spot ETFs, blah, 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 right? It's like, how do you confirm on a daily basis that what you think you hold in the crypto world is legitimately there without maybe publishing it and exposing yourself to theft or hacking? So I think that's really the key is most other assets, you understand whether you own it, whether it's an equity, whether it's gold, you can pretty easily prove it. That's been the hard part with crypto. I think that's what's going to have to get to the heart of regulation is how do we verify this? How do we get comfortable that we are auditing something and regulating something that's actually there?
Neil Kashkari has been talking about how this is just a Ponzi scheme. He doesn't really think that there's any there here. And he's been very vocal about that on Twitter and in lectures. How much is the banking industry leveraged to the Bitcoin and frankly to the crypto story, not necessarily by borrowing money to invest in crypto, but in building up teams of people designed to trade it, designed to invest in?
I don't think the banks have really put that much effort into it. I think they're building out, but it's a small part of their business. The other part of this, I do think people made a mistake, is every time some bank announced they were doing something on crypto, everyone read, oh, this is great, they're adopting it, No, banks are very smart, right? If there's bid offer to be made, if there's some trading revenue to be made, they're going to get involved. That's not a commitment to it. So I think banks can pull back if this doesn't work out. And to me, Bitcoin is always about adoption, the rate of adoption. When you want to get bullish on it, you see adoption coming up. I just don't see it going up anytime soon. In fact, I see it dropping as more and more people question why they want to be in this space.
What's your call for 2023? Let's get out front of your year-ahead report. Get Taylor Swift into it?
I'm not sure about that. I think crypto going down will be sub 10,000 on Bitcoin.
You're calling sub 10,000 on Bitcoin?
Definitely. I think that actually potentially happens even this year. I like rates, though. I think yields are actually probably the easiest trade. I want to be long yields right now. I think treasuries are going to rally. I think the economy is rolling over. The data is rolling over. And as hawkish as the Fed wants to talk, the markets are starting not to listen to it. So I love owning bonds here.